They're just falling all over the place. But good evening, sports fans. It's Wednesday Night Live right here in the building of Coach's Corner, not out in the Sound Garden. It's Wednesday Night Live with an update from the coach and the
AD.
And we just got lights falling all over the place, but we're fine. Hopefully,
we're grateful though.
We're grateful.
We're very grateful.
We're very
grateful for lights.
No, that's fine. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
So,
listen, there's no lying that's going to make us look better. I promise you that.
Hey, it's a live radio show, a live talk show on the internet. What do you expect? Well, anyway, good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report Wednesday Night Live with the coach and AD. It's right here. All right, it's right here on the Coach's Corner Sports Network, and it's all presented by Coach's Corner every Wednesday night and Saturday. Remember, it's all sports, all music, all the time. And what's happening at Coach's Corner this week? Well, right now, tonight, like every Wednesday night, out in the Sound Garden, we got Pub Star Trivia. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, is Family Feud out in the Sound Garden. No band Friday night, but Saturday night, big band, okay? We got beer. That's right, beer. Like you drink beer for my heroes. It's a nationally touring tribute band for Toby Keith. That's Saturday night. Get your tickets. They're going quick. I think they said there are only like 40 left. So just check it out at Eventbrite, and we'll give you the price later on. And on Sunday, the Savannah Singer-Songwriter Series heads out to the Sound Garden, hosted by Tom Collar. Performances by Whiskey and Wine and Tybee Island's own Thomas Oliver. So there's a lot happening here. We'll be here Saturday morning with Karl DeMasi Sports Report in the Sound Garden, but I think we're going to stay right here this Saturday morning. And what do we got right on top of us? Braves.
We got the Braves going on, but even better than that is the AC beside us. Is what's nice. This is a perfect spot that our rubbing and grubbing guys picked.
Oh yeah, but we got the AC, but they get the food. So, but anyway, that's another story. Hopefully, the producer Lawrence Bennett can work it out where he can make believe he's the producer for our show and get us some grubbing. I mean, we can call it the Coach and AD grubbing.
That's right.
Okay, but we just talk about sports, all local, all the time. Well, we'll get right into it. Georgia High School got a lot of stuff going on. So, any updates from the man that's on top of it all?
Right now, so the Medical Advisory Committee will certainly come out tomorrow with advisement going forward. Right now, we're still in going forward with everything. Like we said last week, football pushed back 2 weeks for the start date, September 4th. First official games. Corky Kell Classic, big thing. Atlanta's been moved around from place to place. Not going to play in Rome either right now. So all the regular sports are on time to start, and then they'll be starting officially August 1st.
August 1st. Then softball, cross country, volleyball kickoff August 1st. So we got a lot going on. Once again, the Braves right behind us. You can see it right on the screen. It's on most of the screens here right at Coach's Corner. Braves 2-3. Shaky after number 1 and 2, starting rotation. We'll get into that later on. Don't forget Trementer. They'll play Saturday. They've started out with 2 ties.
Yep.
Great defensive game.
Yeah. They're doing well in the backside, keeping teams locked down. Great goalkeeping as well. Typically, even in soccer, typically defense is ahead of offense attacking-wise, and that's what you're seeing right now for Trementer.
And then, of course, don't forget our other soccer team, the Savannah Clovers. We're playing against Garden. Was it Garden City? Georgia Revolution.
Yeah.
Okay, up in McDonough on Saturday. Suspended after the first half because of weather. They will replay the game this Saturday, 5 o'clock, in its entirety. Is that normal for soccer?
And if they didn't, it depends how much they got in. And especially if they're doing a league match, you got to play it all over.
And then just go down the road. They're off tonight. The Bananas are back tomorrow night against who? The Macon Bacon. So it's the Coastal Plain League Summer Series. The Bacon, the Blowfish, Lexington County Blowfish, and the Savannah Bananas, Macon Bacon are all in the same division. So they're fighting it out to see who gets to the playoffs at the end. But it's going strong over there. Jesse Cole is doing a great job. And we got a surprise guest for you. We'll let you know at the end of the show who's coming on Saturday.
That's why. Big tease there.
Remember this. There's always a great man, but there's a greater woman behind him. So we'll get to that. But anyway, next guy's back at home, okay? BC graduate. He's been all over the place. Savannah Christian. Let me get here. Yeah, he worked in Chatham County. Let's see. Savannah Christian, Bradwell Institute. I don't know. His resume is so full. He did stay at the last place for 7 years, but before that, he was a head football coach at Fellowship Christian. He was the head of the upper school at Kings Ridge Christian. He came home to take on be the headmaster over at Calvary Day School. Joining us now on the Coach's Corner internet stream. Okay, let me get this right here. Put him right on here. The new headmaster over at Calvary Day School, good friend of mine, good friend of Chad Griffin. He's home. He's a Savannah Dr. Hunter Chadwick. I get to say doctor. Hey, doctor, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Appreciate you guys having me on, and I am super excited to be home.
I mean, you've been away for a while, what, almost 9 years, 10 years now?
10 years. So I was in Atlanta at two different schools, one for 3 years as an administrator and also as a football coach, and then I moved over to just the school administration side at Kings Ridge, and was 7 years there, and now blessed to have the opportunity to come back to Savannah.
All right, now, you're being very nice here, but you moved up there to be a head football coach, and I know that was your passion. What made you make the change after 3 years at Fellowship Christian?
It was a strange opportunity. I really was an athletic director at one school, and looked at Kings Ridge. They were a brand new school started by John Smoltz and some other really passionate families, and they had just started a high school. They were only a couple of years into that. They were trying to expand their athletics program. They were looking for an athletic director. I had a meeting with the associate head there, and he wanted me to come on as the principal, not as the athletic director. So I took the challenge of coming to a school that had graduated, I think, 7 kids the year before. We graduated 13 my first year there, and we graduated 81 my last year there. So nice. We grew, we more than doubled in size, and so that was a fun ride. But the opportunity to come to Calvary presented itself in November, and it was a transition year for my family, and one graduating and one transitioned into high school, and some other younger guys that were moving through their grades. And so it was a perfect timing for me to make a leap, and for my family to make a leap. And when an opportunity in Savannah came, to be honest with you, it was kind of a no-brainer to be interested, and I was just praying that they'd be interested in me.
Well, that was trust me, the prayers were equal for us. What we had talked about is the admin. We were talking about looking for a new head. It was like we want someone that understands what goes on in Savannah, and just all these boxes that we had talked about. And here comes Hunter Chadwick, and every box was just checked. And you just know that when God's in it, and just puts two things together, it's just what happened. But Hunter, talk about one thing I wanted to ask you as an administrator as you've moved up. It seems like in the world of education, a lot of administrators come from the coaching ranks. And what is it about that aspect that you've seen in your time, and you've done it all now, that you think that makes coaches starting into great administrators?
Probably the easy answer is they're gluttons for punishment, I think people sometimes underestimate the pressure of building an athletic program and the pressure of, when it comes to being a football coach or a basketball coach. You don't have the luxury of sitting through a timeout and wondering what to do. You have to make decisions, many decisions during a game rapidly, and you're just trying to you don't always make the best decision, right? But you're just trying to make the next best decision. It's not always going to work out the way you want it to. A good head coach who just passed away recently, Jim Walsh, told me when I became a head coach, he kind of called me out of the blue, gave me a hard time about why anybody would ever give me a job. And if you know Coach Walsh, and that's right how he was, and said, hey, I want to give you some advice. Prepare for a nightmare every single day. And if you've ever been a coach or an administrator, that's it. You wake up, you don't have any meetings on your schedule. You wake up as a coach, you have your practice plan ready, and then your number one player goes down. Your number one teacher in administration calls and says, hey, I'm out. I'm going to be out for 9 weeks. And she's the only person who teaches AP physics or AP calculus. That's not easy to find. And it's not easy to replace your starting quarterback or your starting point guard. So what do? You surround yourself with people who are a lot smarter than you are. Any coach that I've ever been around that has built a good sports program, has always had coaches that moved on to bigger and better things because they constantly are trying to surround themselves with people who are better than better than them. And I've tried to do that in administration, and I inherited that at Calvary. Just a lot of people who love the school, love Savannah. And my love for my hometown has never changed. Savannah's always been home. When people ask me where I'm from, I never really told them, my current address. I said, "Oh, I'm from Savannah," So, but to come back home, to raise my kids here, you guys know, it's a special place. I was here for about 24 hours before I ran into Coach DeMasi in the Home Depot, So that's just the way Savannah is.
Yeah, but it's like we never lost touch. It's like you had been gone for 10 years, but it was just like Hunter and Karl DeMasi just having a talking about your dad at the ballpark, asking him how he was doing, and I gave you, my condolences. But he was a big factor when I was coaching up there out at what do you call it, the park on Wilmington Island, and you're always running around doing stuff with him, and then. But to go back to the administrative part, it's a coach's natural ability. You have to. Not just high school kids, but people have to work together, and that's what it's all about. And I guess that's what it's going to be all about. And you have the experience of being a headmaster. But, with all the stuff you've done, you've gone through so much schooling. And has this been an aspiration for you to be, a headmaster at a school, but predominantly back here in Savannah?
It's definitely been an aspiration of mine to be a leader in a school, whether it be the head of school, be a principal, a division head, something in administration. That's what I kind of always wanted to do. I went and I've earned a lot of degrees in order to be able to check those boxes and to get the experience and knowledge in order to do it. But to be really honest, I don't think you learn how to be a coach or a principal or a teacher necessarily by just getting the degrees. You guys know you learn by being in the trenches, and you learn by all the mistakes you made. And I've made a pile of them in my career, and I've blundered Friday night, and I've blundered Monday morning faculty meetings as well. So, I learned a long time ago, when things go, really, really bad, take all the blame. And when things go really, really well, give all the credit. And things are going really, really well at Calvary, but they're not going well because of me. They're going well because of all the great people that are there and that just love the place. And so, it was an aspiration. That's what I wanted to do. I will be honest with you. If you asked me, 20 years ago, I wanted to be a head coach. That's what I wanted to do. And I think every young coach out there, that's part of what I try to pour into young coaches, is say, hey, I know you want to be a head coach. And just wait your time. You might not want to be a head coach after you're a head coach, So it's not all that it's cracked up to be sometimes.
Well, Hunter, I know being back down here, one of the parts is your oldest son is getting ready to play football at Savannah State with another DeMasi coaching him. So what's that been like? How was that going on, the recruiting process, to where he was looking somewhere else and you took this job? It's like, hey, I'll just go to Savannah State. What was that like for you guys?
Well, the luxury I had coaching in Savannah, I didn't necessarily always have this luxury up in Atlanta, but the luxury I had in Savannah is always had a lot of weapons around, and so when you had Russell DeMasi playing quarterback and Tyler Sumner playing wide receiver and Christopher Barnwell and all those guys we had, you didn't have to be too smart. On third down, we just tell Russell to throw a pretty good ball over to Tyler and he'd catch it, and we live for another 4 downs. So the great thing about coming back to Savannah and Braxton deciding to go to Savannah State, he had options. He could go different places. My dad, for some reason, decided long ago to try to get Braxton in the summertime and take him to camps, and he would take him to Savannah State's basketball camp. And so Braxton, as a little kid, in about the 4th or 5th grade, became a Savannah State fan. And there's not many of them in Alpharetta, Georgia, but he was probably their number one fan. So I think Coach DeMasi, Russell DeMasi, those guys and Coach Quinn have no idea how big a Tiger they have. And I don't want to embarrass Braxton, but he probably has more Tiger gear than they have. He probably knows more about their their history and what's gone on with their sports program specifically over the years. So for him and all his friends that knew him, it was a perfect fit for him. And then for us to land back in Savannah, to come back home and live here, and him be 15 minutes down the road, for us to be able to even be a part of his, playing career and to play for Coach Quinn and the other coaches they have over there. Braxton's an old soul, so he's always gravitated towards coaches. And as a dad, I've always just wanted to surround my kid with positive influences and make sure they play for the right kind of people. And Coach Quinn, Coach DeMasi, Coach Johnson, all those guys that are out there at Savannah State, they're the kind of people that you want your kid playing for. And if this season can ever get going and they can get rolling again, I think people in Savannah are going to be surprised at what they put together.
And you're watching Wednesday Night Live, the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. It's the Coach and AD right here from Coach's Corner. It's presented by Coach's Corner every Wednesday night and Saturday morning, part of the Coach's Corner Sports Network. All right, let's get back to home. You've been gone for about 10 years. What did you miss most about Savannah, Georgia?
Oh, wow. I there's a lot of things that I miss. My family would probably say Spankies and Carrie Hilliards, but
you got to throw coaches in there.
Right. Coach's Corner. Believe me, we went to Coach's Corner. It was one of the only places open when we first got back here. So we would go through there and get takeout. You can't beat their food there. There wasn't much sports going on, but there was good food going on. What I miss the most, believe me, is things are a lot slower here. I guess there's some negatives to that as well, but the positives is you can get back to focusing on living life and not living the rat race and stuck in traffic every day. People told me when I was moving here where I didn't want to live, and they'd say, you'd have a long commute. It might be, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And I'm thinking it took me 40 minutes to drive 10 miles. So just getting back home, letting my kids see me interact with people who I've known all my life. That's not really what the Atlanta lifestyle is like. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you're after. But I think, knowing people in the grocery store, seeing people when you walk into places like Coach's Corner and Carrie Hilliards and hometown restaurants, seeing people asking them about their family, that's part of being in a big, small town. And that's what I've always told people about Savannah. It's it's a larger city, but it's still a small town, and everybody kind of knows everybody. I know there's good and bad to that, but I'll take it. And driving in on one of our first trips back here and smelling the salt air and everything else, I was just glad to be back. So it's been a welcome change for us.
Well, and talking about some of the things, obviously as a head of school, I know how you feel about the staff and everything, but also there's a vision coming in, and you being your first head of school here, obviously there's things that you've envisioned. It's like when you become a head coach, you're like, hey, when I become a head coach, I want to do these things. So talk about some of the things that your vision as a new head of school coming here at Calvary, and some of those things going on. And we're seeing some of those changes right now on campus. If you've not driven by campus, it's changing every day. So just walk people through, as a head of school, some of your thoughts and visions for Calvary, and some things that's going on at Calvary as well.
James Taylor did a great job of building a school and somewhat rebuilding a school during tough economic times and riding that all the way to 2019, 2020. I think, for me, the number one thing is I think a lot of people want Calvary to be the best school in Savannah, or they say, hey, we are the best school in Savannah. We won that award, and that's a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not looking at just being the best school in Savannah. I want to be the best school, period. I want to be a school that people from outside of Savannah come and tour and say, hey, we want to beg, borrow, and steal from the programs you have. My vision for the school is to try to do things and do them with pride and integrity. And we're unapologetically a Christian school, always have been, always will be. We're a mission of a great church, and I have a great relationship with the leader of the organization at large, which is our head pastor, Kenny Grant. You can't work for a better guy, and that's a benefit I get that other people don't get. I get to spend 30 minutes to an hour every week with a guy who pours more into me than I'll ever pour into him. So that's a benefit that you can't put a price tag on. And being part of Calvary, I think we can raise the bar around there and do things with a level of excellence that other people aren't accustomed to. And so that's some of the changes that people are seeing around there. If we're going to have a playground, we want one that's better than everybody else's. And I know that's kind of silly, but if we're going to have water fountains, they're going to be the best water fountains that you can find. And so we're trimming trees, we're cleaning out closets, we're throwing things away, we're redoing playgrounds and have a new outdoor education center that's coming that we've kind of kept under wraps for a while as we go through some silent fundraising for it. But we got a permit today for a new reptile center. So we're going to be replicating basically what the old Savannah Science Museum used to be. So for old Savannahans, they probably remember, like I do, going there. So it'll be on campus as well as a greenhouse and a whole outdoor education center that will add to our STEM program. And so under the leadership of, our 3 division heads, Joseph Almeida, Corey Martin, and Doug Pesci, along with Sandy Hunt, those people are, man, I'm telling you, you want to talk about hard workers and people with a vision and are just rolling. We have to get everything at Calvary, and this is not I know Chad's on the show here, but we've got to get everything at Calvary up to the level of expectation that people have when they come to play us. When people come to play us, they know they got to kind of pack a lunch, right? I'm saying that as an outsider and now as an insider. I mean, you better pack a lunch, right? Because we're pretty good. We're pretty good when we get a ball or a racket or a bat in our hand or put a helmet on. So we want to do that when it comes to academics, when it comes to faith integration, and when it comes to STEM and fine arts. We want to be able to do that all over the place. So, I feel like I'm spinning around like the Tasmanian devil around campus, but we're trying to raise the bar all over the place and set a new level of expectation. And I think our people are going to appreciate that, and it's going to help us grow. And we're growing faster than we could ever imagine, which is a huge blessing, especially coming out of COVID and the pandemic we've been dealing with.
Yeah, that was my next question. Now, now you're the head man. You're up at Kings Ridge when this all started. Now you're coming down to another school, Calvary Day School, and you have to work that in your plans. How has that affected you being a headmaster, dealing with all this COVID-19 requirements and what you got to do and what the CDC says? How do you handle that as being the head of a school? Because I know Dr. Ann Levette, she's got a lot of things on her plate too.
Yeah. 2 things I would say. When I became a head coach, I inherited a team with 17 players, and that's not how you draw it up. And when I became a head of school, I inherited a school that was marching towards through a pandemic like we've never seen. And so, I've tried to, number one, tried to encourage people to just lean on their faith. As a Christian school, let's march towards this, knowing God's in control and God's got a plan. At the same time, let's use all the resources we have in the Savannah area and outside the Savannah area to ask those people who are in the medical field, hey, if we can come back, how can we come back? We've worked with them with a task force to outline a plan to come back, and we believe we're going to come back with a smart plan to keep kids safe and to also keep their families safe. We have a plan for those who want to stay home as well. But our plan is not for everybody to stay home. We're going to come back on August the 13th in person. And those who need to stay home for health reasons or just don't feel safe, we have a plan for them, and they're going to be able to tune in live to their classes through a new camera system so that they can tune into their classes just like they're there. Is it perfect? No, I think kids want to be with kids, and teachers want to teach kids, and teachers want to be with teachers. And my goodness, I think all of us long for Friday night, and I think we're all going to be more thankful. Just like the Braves are back on TV, I think we'll all be thankful when we can cut on our TV and see that football's back on. So I'm encouraged by the steps we're taking. Of course, things change every day. Our plan gets tweaked every day, and things change every day. I don't have a crystal ball. All I'm doing is putting this in God's hands and saying, hey, you give us the wisdom and you help us, give us discernment as we try to make some of these decisions. And just like I said, on Friday night, you're trying to just make the next best decision. trying to do the same thing as a headmaster. We're going to make the next best decision. We're not going to base our decisions on what everybody else is doing. We're going to base those decisions on what we feel like is the best based upon the people we're getting input from.
I mean, nothing better than that. You got the old ball coach in charge of the school now. He's taking it with a game plan. He has a game plan, and that's what every coach has. Hunter, it's great to have you back here in Savannah, Georgia. Hunter Chadwick, former Benedictine cadet. Now he's gone through Savannah Christian. He's gone through public schools. He's been up in Atlanta, but he's back home in Savannah taking care of Calvary Day School. Appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot to do, and can't wait to see what your son does with my son.
Hey, I appreciate it. He's going to do great out there. They're going to do great things. I'm so proud of Russell. I know you are, but I'm proud of Russell. Just watching him put a whistle on and run around out there is awesome to see. I'm glad you're going to be coaching again. Appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'm glad to be home. Glad to be at Calvary. Thank you guys, and go Cavs.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. Appreciate you.
Right. See you.
I mean, he's a homegrown guy. He loves what he does. He's got all the experience now, and I mean that's what you want. That's what you want from a leader of your school or a leader of your team. And Chad, every principal I can think of has been some form of coach. There have been a couple that have been a coach, but most of them been a coach or were in sports. Or it just gives you that I guess that time management, that game plan that you have to control, or not control, but guide people to do the right things.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing why you see coaches that make we can take this out. I think the biggest thing you see why coaches move into administration is it's such a natural flow. You've already been leaders of young people. You've had to get them to buy into what you're doing. You also
got a coaching staff that you got to work too. So it's kids and adults.
Yeah, you're managing adults. You're managing student athletes. You're managing parents with playing time or other things that come up. You're managing budgets. You're doing all that stuff. And coaches usually just understand how to, get people to do things, get them to buy in, get them to be unselfish and say, hey, sacrifice some of this so we can have a greater good for that. And I think it's just a natural flow you see in it. And the thing I love about Dr. Chadwick so much, one is I've been very blessed. Dr. Taylor was so good to me and just gave me some free reign and said, hey, I trust in what you're doing. Dr. Chadwick's done the same thing. It's also nice, though, that he's been in my shoes where I can go to him. We were talking about a situation the other day, and he's like, listen, I've been there. I've done that. And I was like, well, how'd you handle this? He goes, well, have you thought about this or that? And so it's great from my perspective as well to have a head of school who's been a coach, who's been an athletic director, and now a head of school, so he understands – what we're going through, what Mark Stroud's going through, what I'm going through, and he appreciates that. But also, what we've taught our coaches, like, hey, he's been through it. So from accountability perspective, knows what he expects.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so that bar is even higher now because, hey, he knows it, he's lived it, he's done it. But we're blessed to have him at Calvary. We've been so blessed with Dr. Taylor and now Dr. Chadwick coming in. And it was just one of those things that everything that we were looking for as an admin staff and a new head of school is like, man, we would love to have someone who understands the dynamic of Savannah.
Right.
Because that's just rare.
Right.
People come in from out of state, and it takes them 2-3 years to learn the dynamic.
What's going on.
And so we've been very blessed by that. He just checks all the boxes, and him and his family's great. He brought 4 more Cavaliers with him. And then they're Savannah State guys. So it's been great.
It'll be good. Hunter Chadwick graduated from Benedictine Military School. Like you said, he played for Coach Joe Walsh. He touched my son's life over at Savannah Christian when my son was there. He was a coach there. And, of course, Donald Chumley and Kevin Jackson and Hunter Chadwick and Carl Carter and Ashley
staff.
Barnwell.
Yeah, great coaching staff.
It was great coaching staff. Jamie Felton. So you got a good guy in him right there. He cares what he's doing. He loves education.
Oh, yeah.
He's got enough education under his belt. So
without a doubt.
All right, let's get quickly back to sports, and we can wrap up. We're going to probably have on Saturday. But once again, I got to touch this topic. And I know you're a Braves fan. I've really adapted or come to love the Braves too. But people jumping ship already. I mean, the last two games, the pitching hasn't been there. But remember, this happened last year. It happened the year before. And I know, well, Coach, there's 60-game season. Every time you lose, it's 2.7 games that you lost or you won. We still got time. We still got time.
Listen. I mean, baseball. I mean, you know as well as anybody else that the ebb and flow of the game. You know, especially early on. I mean, it'll be different if we're sitting here in a week and we're 2-7.
Right.
You know,
it's a different story.
It's a different story. You know, but even then, I mean, you still got 51 more games. I mean, look at the run. You know, teams made last year, the last 30 games of the season. Type deal. Yeah, we're sitting here thinking, hey, yes, you're right. Washington Nationals would not have won the World Series. Wouldn't have been in the playoffs if we did it for 60 games. We understand every game is important, but I mean, you play the Mets. You're playing the Rays, who are like
they're supposed
really good now.
One of the teams predicted to win the World Series.
Don't get me wrong; they're really good. The guy they faced in the first game down was throwing 99, 100. But in the sixth inning, I think guys going. I mean, like this is Major League Baseball. Everybody's good, guys. You know, and they're talking about being home. All right, I was listening to earlier today. Being at home, the winning percentage is 53%.
Right.
And now with no fans.
Right.
So I mean, you know, there's really no advantage being home on the road. It's just baseball and who you're throwing out there, and you know, they'll be fine. They'll be up there.
I'm going to say wait till the first 20 games, and then we'll see what happens from there. That's my
Quarter
take.
Poll, 1/3 poll.
Let's see what happens.
1/3 poll.
First of all, my biggest fear is we're not going to make it through the 60 games. I mean, look what's happening to Miami Marlins. Now we got 18 players and coaches COVID-19 positive. They're not going to probably play till Sunday. I mean, one team's going to affect the other. What's the best system? Do we put them in a bubble like the NHL and the NBA and like the we had that the basketball tournament with Chris Coakley? Do we put them in a bubble? MLB chose not to do that.
They looked at that. They looked at that in Florida and Arizona. And probably a good thing they did because Florida and Arizona are the two worst hotspots right now. So,
but what's the first team to be
implicated? But what's so crazy is the testing aspect. Like 3 days before, didn't have any. Then after. So, but the good thing is, I think around, if I was right today at 5 o'clock, there's been no other positive test outside of just the Marlins. Right. So, I mean, you can bang on MLB all you want, but 29 out of 37 teams is doing all right. You know.
Well, now we got college football looking at it really hard too, because you can't bubble those teams.
No,
There's no way.
And
you keep them in the same region, but you can't bubble them. And good news is Georgia Tech might play. So, the Georgia UV game is out. So we're going to see what happens.
Well, that's what we're looking at. You know, I think North Carolina's supposed to play. You know, Auburn in the Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Right.
Is that going to be their other game or not? Type deal. And you know, I saw where University of Wisconsin, if they don't have football this year, it's $100 million loss. And I mean, it is. You talk about the trickle-down effect of schools and money. It's the fallout will be astronomical, and I understand that. And you know, we're looking at high school football. You know, you're seeing. I saw a county in Alabama say today that hey, they're not playing sports. They're shut it down, and you're seeing that kind of little pockets here, there, all over. So, listen. Same thing I tell our coaches, and the same thing our Chadwick tells us is like, we're going to do the best we can today. We're going to handle what's in front of us today, and that's all we can do. Because if you try to look, like you said, there's no crystal ball for 7 days down the road or 5 days down the road.
All right, well, we'll be back Saturday morning. We'll be breaking down this even more, and hopefully I can get an expert. Just so you know, Saturday morning we will have two guests definitely. We'll have Fuchs Lewis, who just signed to play where?
Georgia State in Atlanta.
In Atlanta from Calvary Day School. We'll ask him why he made that decision so quick and what recruiting was like during this COVID-19 pandemic. Then we got the lady of Fans First. Yes, this is the co-owner of Fans First. We know Jesse Cole, the man in the yellow tux. He's the businessman. He's the guy that did it. But his better half, known as Emily Cole, had to agree to all this, and she is co-owner or co-president of this team. I'm excited about talking to her, get her aspect. You know, I love, a lot of us don't give females a lot of credit in sports. I mean, she's been sports. That's how they got together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other night when I went there to watch the Savannah Party Animals against the Savannah Bananas, she's back there working, in the storage room, getting stuff. She's running all over the place. She's got a big part of it, too, so I can't wait to talk to her.
She's definitely just as invested, if not, they're equally invested in this stuff. And she might not be in the front with the yellow tux, but she's worn some yellow before.
Oh, yeah. She had a nice yellow gown back when South Magazine had him on the front cover. So I'm excited about Emily Cole. Of course, tonight, Hunter Chadwick. I'm trying to line up and sort of like a expert or someone a little more clout. Not that I don't have clout or he doesn't have clout. towards what's going on here with Georgia High School and the pandemic. Hopefully we can get a little more things further straightened out. So we'll be hoping to have that on Saturday. But once again, don't forget here's what's on tap here at Coach's Corner. Got to thank John Henderson and the crew.
This is the center of the sports universe.
Yep.
Dubbed by Rubbin and Grubbin. We have to give them
We're still waiting for the Grubbin. So
we are.
Adele and John Henderson have taken care of us. We've taken care of them, promoting them, and I got to thank them for letting them do this because of COVID-19, I was laid off. But you know what? I'm still on the internet, still here, 16 weeks straight. Okay, so what's on tap tonight? Every Wednesday, you like trivia? Pub Star Trivia out back in the Soundgarden. Tomorrow night, Family Feud in the Soundgarden. That sounds pretty interesting. We got to check that out. Okay. Friday, there is no band in the Soundgarden, no music. But come Saturday night and Sunday night, it's a packed house. Saturday night, we got, remember this because you got to make the promo.
Yes, I do.
We got Beer for My Heroes. It's a nationally touring tribute band for Toby Keith. I heard it's going to be a packed house.
Oh, without doubt. There's only, 30, 40 tickets left?
So you better go to Eventbrite to get your tickets. It's going to be a packed house. Then Sunday, the Savannah Singer-Songwriters Series comes to the Soundgarden, hosted by Tom Collier. Okay, performances by Whiskey and Wine and Tybie's own Thomas Oliver. So that's this week right here at Coach Corner. Besides all the baseball and all the stuff, besides us being here back here Saturday morning with the Karl DeMasi Sports Report right here from Coach's Corner. All right? So anything else we got to plug? Anything else?
That's it, man. We ready to roll. And we'll be back Saturday morning. A lot of sports to cover once again, and we'll have some updates for you from Georgia High School as well.
So remember, every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, following the other Coach's Corner Sports Network show, Rubbin and Grubbin. If you haven't checked it out, you got to check it out.
Great guys.
Foles,
guys.
Brandon Baines, and, of course, the producer, Lawrence Bennett, does a great job. Go to their YouTube page. Go to their Facebook page. Rubbin with no G, not rubbing.
Yeah,
Rubbin and Grubbin. They're rubbing race cars.
Rubbin is racing, baby.
And they're grubbing the food right here.
Grubbin, man. They had
how we got to do that.
A great Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak. We got water.
Hey, we're grateful to have water. We're grateful. We're grateful. We're 16 weeks in.
All right, so Saturday morning we'll be back with Coach Nadine, the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, right here from the Coach's Corner Soundgarden. It's all part of the Coach's Corner Sports Network. Remember, the rest of the week may be the best week ever, and whatever you may be doing, always hit it out of the park. Until Saturday morning, God bless. Be safe. Oh, they took the sanitizer out. Wash your hands.
And wash your hands. Chop on.